Okay, for today's Trade of the Day video, I want to just give a couple of notes on some things that we saw today. First of all was the morning started out and we traded in a pretty tight range through the first hour, and there was a setup here at on the regular trading hour chart with 50% retracement that was on the verge of overbalancing and breaking this swing low, and that is typically a decent trade setup to look for a short on. We had confirming evidence with the fast trend wave and the slow trend wave all pointing down, suggesting that a break would come. One thing that I do want to mention is that today saw a large divergence in the action between the mids and the OEX. Now when that happens, a lot of times the ES will trade in a choppy or a labored type movement manner. So we don't see a lot of the strong, powerful and swift moves if the OEX and mids aren't both moving in the same directions. Now the other thing that I wanted to bring up is volume. We were watching the volume throughout the first hour here, and if you would have looked at the volume at this point right here, you would have seen that the overall volume for the day was under 100,000 contracts traded. Now a typical, as of late, first hour volume is, last week 4 out of the 5 days were over 200,000 contracts in the first hour. The high day last week was 297,000 contracts, almost 300,000 contracts in the first hour. Now today is Columbus Day. The markets are open and trading. It's not a market holiday, but for whatever reason, at this point in the day, we had only seen 90,000 contracts through the turnstiles, and this is 5 minutes before an hour into the day. So with the low volume, that's a little bit of a warning to watch, because moves that go somewhere need volume to drive them to wherever they're going. So if there's not sufficient volume there, then that's a warning flag right there. Additionally, like I said, when the OEX and the mids are not cooperating, a lot of times the moves are much more labored, much more choppy. But if I step this forward, you'll see that this trade setup was successful in breaking down. However, it didn't really get legs going anywhere. It basically broke down, went to a double drive 1-to-1, and then reversed and set just about the same situation or scenario up, but in the upwards direction. We were now also on a 50% retracement, on the verge of overbalancing and making a series of attempts or touches on that resistance. So anyway, the fast trend wave, you can see again, just like before, we had both trend waves going down. Here the fast trend wave has reversed to up, and then the slow trend wave is not yet reversed. So this is now setting up for a long trade in almost the same manner as the short trade was set up previous. And if you look at this, you'll see that it did in fact break, and it did in fact make some headway, although it wasn't a large explosive move. So you can see that when it did move out of here, that it did in fact move up higher and got a little more legs than this got on the downside. Went up to a higher area of consolidation, and then continued up to make another high before really making a substantial correction. So anyway, but if you look at the day overall, if I just jump to the end, you can see that there, with a few exceptions, the moves on the day were choppy, and the overall range was not enormous. It was 6 points, 7 points, and a lot of that is due to the fact that like I said, the OEX and the mid, when they are at odds with each other, the S&P 500 is not going to make a lot of ground in one direction or the other. So with that, and then also taking into consideration the volume, it was clear that today was going to be a scalping type day, or at least a day to expect choppy and labored moves, and we did get all of that. But fortunately, we're able to take advantage of at least one good opportunity on the day, and there was another one right here at the end coming back. But that was we'll say that for another time for that kind of an example. So I hope that you found this educational, and we will talk to you tomorrow.